We're taking a look at why the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie starring Angelina Jolie blow SAO out of the water.
Angelina Jolie was a great choice to play Lara Croft. She's able to play a strong and intelligent character. Also, Angelina Jolie actually had lessons in yoga and kickboxing in order to prepare for her role as Lara Croft. Additionally, Angelina Jolie received weapons training from an instructor of the SAS, the United Kingdom's elite special forces. Angelina Jolie's outfit here looks pretty similar to Lara Croft's outfit in the old video games. She's even wearing the reloader belt. Also, Angelina Jolie was actually extremely hesitant towards wearing Lara Croft's famous short shorts. However, she eventually agreed because she knew that it would make the fans of the character happy. Awesome fight scene here between Lara Croft and this training robot.
Was it programmed to stop before it took my head off?
Angelina Jolie's English accent in this movie is actually pretty good.
Poor Simon.
The training robot here is actually named after the director of this movie, Simon West. Ian Glenn was a great choice to play Manfred Powell. He's able to play an intimidating and menacing character. It's cool how Lara Croft's father in this movie is played by Angelina Jolie's real-life father, Jon Voight. In fact, this movie was actually a significant factor in repairing their strained relationship. The picture of Lara's mother here is actually Linda Carter, the same actress who played Diana Prince / Wonder Woman in the old Wonder Woman TV series. Jon Voight's English accent in this movie is actually pretty good. The part where Hillary the butler uses the silver tray to protect his face is a nice reference to the Lara Croft video games. In those games, the player can shoot at the butler while exploring the Croft Manor, and the butler will use the tray he's carrying around to protect himself. Daniel Craig's American accent in this movie is actually pretty good. Also, it's fitting how they got a James Bond actor in this movie. The James Bond films were actually one of the major influences behind the Lara Croft Tomb Raider video games. Very sincere conversation here between Lara and Alex. Ian Glenn does a great job delivering his lines in this scene. He definitely sounds very sophisticated and sinister. Angelina Jolie actually did this entire bungee ballet scene on her own without the use of a stunt double. Awesome fight scene here between Lara Croft and Powell's henchmen. If Lara Croft riding a motorcycle and shooting these bad guys at the same time isn't a merit, then I don't know what is. Pretty hilarious conversation here between Lara and this UPS delivery guy. Richard Croft's letter here is very heartfelt. The jasmine flowers here are a nice callback to earlier in the movie during the flashback scene between young Lara and her father. The part where Lara's backpack swallows the first part of the triangle is a nice touch. In the games, Lara's backpack would mysteriously swallow any item moved close to its bottom or side by Lara. This entire fight scene here actually feels like a video game, which is fitting because this movie is based on a video game. The gun that Alex West is using here is actually a Walther P99 pistol, the signature weapon of James Bond. That's definitely very fitting because Daniel Craig would later go on to play James Bond. In fact, he uses a Walther P99 pistol in Casino Royale. This scene definitely feels like a video game. Lara and the others have defeated all the minions, so now it's time to fight the final boss of the dungeon. The tea healing Lara's wounds definitely also feels like something that would happen in a video game. Pretty hilarious moment here. This scene here also feels like a video game. You ring the bell and then a secret passageway is revealed. This movie has some pretty decent visual effects considering that it came out in 2001. That's a very appropriate response. Powell is actually pretty clever. He kills Alex so that Lara will have to complete the triangle in order to save Alex's life.
See a world in a grain of sand.
That line is a nice callback to earlier in the movie when Lara read the letter that her father sent to her. Very heartfelt conversation here between Lara and her father. Awesome fight scene here between Lara and Powell. Awesome explosion scene here. The part where Lara said aha is a nice reference to the Tomb Raider video games. In the games, Lara would use this phrase whenever she picked up an item. Once again, this scene feels like a video game. You have to escape before the entire place collapses. It's nice how Lara is wearing a dress now. It looks like she did learn how to be more modest. Lara definitely experienced a lot of character development throughout the course of this movie. This is a very fitting ending. The movie starts with Lara fighting the training robot, and it ends with Lara going to fight the training robot again. It's cool how the falling debris created the movie's title card. That's definitely a pretty creative way to add the movie's title card. Just like in the first Tomb Raider movie, Angelina Jolie's English accent in this movie is actually pretty good. Pretty hilarious moment here. This is a pretty cool action scene. It definitely feels like something that would happen in the video games. You have to fight off the bad guys and escape without getting killed. It's funny how Lara punched the shark in the nose then rode it. It definitely also feels like something out of a video game. Ciarán Hinds was a great choice to play the villain of this movie. He definitely does a great job. Jonathan Rice is pretty ruthless. Ciarán Hinds does a great job playing a despicable and cunning character. Ah, so that's where the subtitle The Cradle of Life comes from. Gerard Butler was a great choice to play Terry Sheridan. He has some good on-screen chemistry with Angelina Jolie. This is a pretty awesome scene. It's cool how Lara Croft is riding a motorcycle on the Great Wall of China. You definitely don't see that kind of thing in many movies. Very heartfelt conversation here between Lara and Terry. That line is a nice reference to the Tomb Raider The Last Revelation video game. In that game, mummies attack and try to kill Lara after Set is released. Pretty hilarious moment here.
I'll be 4 minutes.
The 4 minutes part of that line is a nice touch. much. The fight sequence between Lara Croft and Chen Lo ends almost exactly 4 minutes later in movie time. That is true. The Terracotta Army was indeed created to protect Emperor Qin Shi Huang in his afterlife. The writers of this movie definitely did their research. Awesome fight scene here between Lara Croft and Chen Lo. If you look closely here, you can see that the Terracotta soldier's head is a separate piece from the body. This is actually factual. The Terracotta soldier's heads, arms, legs, and torsos were all created separately and then assembled by looting the pieces together. Another awesome fight scene here between Lara Croft and Chen Lo. Also, Lara's movements with the antique rifle during this fight scene are actually taken from the Queen Anne salute used by the US Army drill team. This is a pretty awesome action sequence. It's cool how Lara and Terry are shooting these bad guys as they're sliding down the rope. Some nice foreshadowing here. Later in the movie, Bryce is going to use his flight simulation skills for real. Very sincere conversation here between Lara and Terry. This is a pretty awesome scene. It's cool how Lara used the bamboo stick to pole vault onto the helicopter skids. You definitely don't see that kind of thing in many movies. The part where Lara falls is a nice reference to the Tomb Raider video games. In the games, Lara would also fall quite a bit. The Times Square Marketplace Mall is actually a real shopping center and office tower complex in Hong Kong. Awesome fight scene here between Lara Croft and Rice's henchmen. This stunt here was actually performed by the two men who developed the wingsuits. No CGI, wires, nets, or other special effects were involved. That's definitely pretty epic. Very sensual moment here between Lara and Terry. As I stated before, Gerard Butler has some good on-screen chemistry with Angelina Jolie. It's funny how this family is watching an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. This movie actually has some pretty decent visual effects considering that it came out in 2003. Some very beautiful establishing shots of Africa. Awesome fight scene here between Lara Croft and Rice's henchmen. A nice callback to earlier in the movie. As I stated before, Bryce is going to use his flight simulation skills for real. This is actually a very creepy scene. It definitely also feels like something out of a video game. That's a very appropriate response. That's pretty brutal. You can even see how Sean is missing his head here. Once again, this movie actually has some pretty decent visual effects considering that it came out in 2003. Also, this scene here definitely feels like something that would happen in a video game. You place the magical item on the pedestal, then it kills all the monsters and a secret passageway is revealed. Whoa, that is brutal. The movie does a great job making Rice's death very gruesome. Very touching moment here between Lara and Terry. This is actually a very sad ending. Lara had to pick the lesser of two evils. Either she had to kill Terry or Pandora's box would have unleashed a deadly plague onto mankind. The movie definitely does a great job making Terry's death very heartbreaking and tragic. It's fitting how Lara didn't open Pandora's box in the end. In Greek mythology, Pandora released all the evils of humanity by opening the box.
Some things are not meant to be found.
That line is a nice callback to the beginning of the movie.
Everything lost is meant to be found.
Pretty hilarious moment here. Awesome end credits. It definitely fits with the style and theme of this movie.
As you can see, the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movies are miles ahead of Sword Art Online. Angelina Jolie absolutely nails the role of Lara Croft, bringing her to life with charisma and grit. The films are packed with thrilling action and incredible fight scenes that keep you on the edge of your seat. From daring stunts to intense chases, every moment is filled with excitement. In contrast, SAO often drags on with long, drawn-out scenes that leave you feeling bored and disconnected. Its attempts at storytelling can feel bland and convoluted, making it hard to get invested in the characters or the plot. If you want a fun escape filled with adventure and a strong female lead, skip SAO and dive into the Tomb Raider movies instead. You won't regret it. Also check out the Tomb Raider reboot movie starring Alicia Vikander.
It's cool how this trailer starts with an action scene right off the bat. It's a good way to get the audience hooked immediately. Also, it's cool how Alicia Vikander is wearing the exact same outfit as Lara Croft from the 2013 video game. She even has the bandage on her right arm. That's definitely some nice attention to detail. 62 Buckingham Gate is actually a real commercial building in Victoria, London. It's cool how they include real locations in movies. It just makes it feel a lot more realistic that way. Alicia Vikander was a great choice to play Lara Croft. She definitely looks the part. Also, Alicia Vikander is an actual fan of the Lara Croft video games. It's nice how they cast someone who's familiar with the games. These pictures of Lara as a child here are a nice touch. It really makes it feel like Lara is a real person with a real backstory. Awesome explosion scene here. Pretty hilarious conversation here between Lara Croft and Lu Ren. Great use of slow motion here. This is a pretty awesome scene. This trailer has a lot of awesome action sequences. Walton Goggins was a great choice to play the villain of this movie. He definitely sounds very menacing. It's cool how Lara is using a DMM Rebel 50cm ice axe here. That's actually the same exact ice axe that Lara uses in the video games. Again, that's some nice attention to detail. This scene here feels like something that you would see in a video game. That's definitely very fitting because this movie is based on a video game. This is a pretty cool logo. It's fitting how the arrow is going through the words. The bow is actually Lara Croft's primary weapon in the Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider video games. It's cool how Lara is using a pair of Heckler & Koch USP match pistols here. These are actually pretty similar to the ones used by Angelina Jolie in the original 2 Lara Croft Tomb Raider movies.
If you want to watch another awesome video game movie, check out Warcraft.
Enter the dark and twisted world of fantasy fatalities, where we meticulously tally the tragic demise of named characters in fantasy movies and shows. Brace yourself for our latest edition as we delve into the spine-tingling death toll of Warcraft. A fierce and bloody conflict has raged for ages between the human and orc populations. But for Durotan, the noble chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, the ceaseless brutality of war has lost its appeal. He yearns to escape the violent life and build a new future with his pregnant wife, Draka. However, their land of Draenor is in peril, and a powerful orc warlock named Gul'dan has a sinister plan to guide their united clans, known as the Horde, into the realm of Azeroth. Using a dark and deadly magic called Fel, which draws its power from death, Gul'dan enslaves and sacrifices countless prisoners to open a portal to Azeroth. Garona, a half-human and half-orc, is shackled and forced to witness the atrocities of Gul'dan's magic. But it is Draka's struggle that draws the most poignant emotions, as she hides her pregnancy and suffers through the birth of her stillborn son, Goel. But Gul'dan steals the life force of an innocent deer, and he revives Goel. In the city of Stormwind, Anduin Lothar meets a curious young mage named Khadgar. Together they discover the gruesome fate of a slain soldier, whose mouth spews ominous green smoke, a sign of death by fell magic. King Lane Rin commands the duo to seek the powerful guardian, Medivh. Anduin and Khadgar are greeted by Medivh, who's sculpting a colossal golem from clay. Khadgar stumbles upon a malevolent presence lurking in the shadows of Medivh's library. Drawn to a forbidden tome, Khadgar is caught in Medivh's magical grip. Medivh joins Anduin, Khadgar, and several other soldiers as they venture into the forest to investigate the source of the fell magic. Suddenly, they are ambushed by a horde of orcs who pummel the humans relentlessly. As Blackhand lunges at Anduin, the commander swiftly blasts off his hand with his trusty boomstick. The orcs flee the scene, with Durotan gallantly riding past Garona, still chained. Durotan swings his axe to free Garona, but Khadgar holds her back with his magic, allowing the humans to capture her. Garona is locked up in Lane's castle, where she reveals that her world is not on Azeroth's map, and the orcs are set to invade. Garona accompanies the humans to meet with the Frostwolf clan. The humans and orcs convene to negotiate a truce against Gul'dan. Durotan speaks for the orcs, with Garona serving as translator. However, they are ambushed by Gul'dan's loyal green orcs, Blackhand, and his henchmen. The humans and the Frostwolf clan fight back, but Medivh separates them with a barrier, leaving several soldiers, including Anduin's son, Callan, outside. Anduin is trapped inside the barrier with no way to save his son. Blackhand seizes the opportunity and kills Callan, throwing his lifeless body at his father. Medivh's powers wane. He is taken back to his home and placed into his mana pool. Khadgar discovers that Medivh has been tainted by fell magic. Khadgar departs to seek help, while Medivh teleports Garona back to Stormwind. Orgrim speaks with Gul'dan, who is aware that Durotan has turned against the Horde. Khadgar soars high above the clouds on the back of a majestic griffin. He heads to the city of Dalaran. Upon arriving, he is met with disdain and reproach from the elder mages, but he bravely informs them of the growing threat of the fell magic. Alodai, the mysterious shadowy figure from Medivh's library, summons Khadgar, revealing that Medivh has succumbed to the corruption of the fell. Medivh transforms into a monstrous creature, and he drains the life force of his assistant Moros. Orgrim realizes his mistake. He frees Durotan and his family. Durotan forgives Orgrim, and they reconcile their friendship. Draka, determined to save her child, places her son in a basket and sends him down the river to safety. However, she is fatally impaled while fighting off a vicious orc. Durotan challenges Gul'dan to a one-on-one battle in front of the entire horde, with the odds stacked against him. Durotan surprises everyone by appearing to overpower Gul'dan until the warlock uses his dark magic to drain Durotan's life force. The other orcs are outraged at Gul'dan's treachery and turn away from him for cheating. Gul'dan slaughters the dissenting orcs, leaving no room for rebellion. Anduin and Khadgar try to defeat Medivh, but he unleashes a fearsome clay golem on them. Lane and his army, now joined by Garona, face off against the orcs. Anduin manages to sever the golem's head. In a daring move, Khadgar uses his magic to bring the golem down on top of Medivh. The portal closes. Khadgar manages to save Medivh from the corrupted magic. Medivh opens the portal to Stormwind and many prisoners return. Medivh Medivh dies and the portal closes. Lane, Garona, and some soldiers are left behind. A soldier named Varys is killed with the battle all but lost. Lane makes a drastic decision to sacrifice himself. He instructs Garona to kill him, hoping it will bring peace between the orcs and humans. Garona reluctantly plunges her dagger into Lane's neck and kills him. The orcs hail Garona as their hero, and she's welcomed into the horde. Anduin arrives at the battlefield. He tries to retrieve Lane's body, but the orcs prevent him from leaving. Anduin faces off against Blackhand. In a swift retaliation for Callan's death, Anduin kills Blackhand. Anduin departs with Lane's body, seething in anger and pain. Anduin is convinced that Garona deliberately betrayed and killed Lane. A grand funeral is held for Lane. Anduin becomes the new leader of the Alliance. The final scene shows Goel floating down a river. Durotan's voice is heard, prophesying that his son will lead the orcs to a new era of peace. As a man picks up the baby's basket, Goel growls. In total, there were 9 named character deaths: Goel, Callan, Moros, Draka, Durotan, Medivh, Varys, Lane, and Blackhand. With a runtime of 123 minutes, that gives us an average of 1 death every 15.375 minutes. Warcraft received mostly negative reviews from critics, but generally positive reviews from audiences. The critics' consensus on Warcraft is that while it boasts impressive visuals and an ambitious storyline, it ultimately fails to deliver a coherent and engaging film. The film currently has a 29% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on over 200 reviews, with the consensus being Warcraft has visual thrills to spare, but they and director Duncan Jones' distinctive gifts are wasted on a sluggish and derivative adaptation of a best-selling game with little evident cinematic value. The movie made $439 million at the box office, but it wasn't enough to break even due to the high production and marketing budgets. Losses are estimated to be around $30 to $40 million. Warcraft was the highest-grossing video game movie, but it was beaten by the Super Mario Bros. Movie in April 2023. Amidst the thrilling storyline of Warcraft, the possibility of sequels is wide open. Director Duncan Jones has made his eagerness known for a follow-up to the film, with speculation pointing towards Warcraft 2: Tides of Darkness as the likely source material. Hopeful fans of Warcraft were left disappointed when Duncan took to Twitter on June 18, 2018, and shared a less than optimistic update. In a tweet that sent shockwaves through the Warcraft community, Duncan expressed doubt that a sequel was in the cards. However, exciting news broke in September 2020 when reports surfaced that Legendary Pictures was in the midst of developing a new Warcraft film. It remains to be seen whether the new movie will be a continuation or a fresh start with a reboot. The question of who will distribute the film is also up in the air, with both Universal Pictures and Legendary's partners, Sony Pictures and Netflix, being potential candidates. Are you ready to immerse yourself in another fantastical world? Share your suggestions for the next fantasy movie or show for me to analyze in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with all the latest videos.